Hello everyone and welcome to episode 329 of the Mark and Me podcast. Now this is my second part of my interview with Frank Carter. First time round, we were there, it was all going well. After half an hour, the fucking Wi-Fi went. I couldn't believe it. It was one of my favourite interviews so far. The chemistry was on another level, but Frank was so kind and we agreed to wrap it up and do it all again the next day. So we sat down for another hour, did part two, and as I sit here right now, I actually really do believe it might be the best interview I've ever done. It is available on YouTube, so if you're sitting here and you listen and then actually want to go back and watch it, you can do that right now. It's done really well, had over 1,000 plays in the first 24 hours, which has been my most popular video ever in the first ever day. And it's just a great interview. Frank has become just an absolute beautiful human being. It's so great to hear, and this interview for me just gets better and better. So instead of me waffling on, I think the best thing to do right now is to get straight to it. So here's me and Frank Carter continuing our interview with part two. And we're back. And Frank, we've had a like a Beyonce show. We've had a change of clothes and outfit, and I love it.
Yeah, we slipped into something a little more comfortable.
Yeah, I've gone for jumpers today. I quite like it. It's lovely.
Yeah, this is my
So
lucky
yeah,
shirt.
due to gremlins getting in the system and fucking up with us yesterday, we're back 24 hours later. People don't know this, and just before it cut out, we were talking about you being really excited to be going on tour again and now finally playing these brand new songs from Dark Rainbows live.
Yeah, I mean, we've worked so hard on the album, and so much was done to kind of challenge the band that we knew we were. You know, really make some big steps in the right direction to just elevate the show and for it to feel very different. I know every show is different, but we wanted people to come and see us and leave and say, okay, that was the best time I've ever seen them. You know, that's what this tour is about, is definitively drawing a line in the sand and saying this is where it begins. And I think that's really exciting.
When you were writing these songs and obviously in the studio, and the production for this album is absolutely beautiful, like it sounds crystal clear. I don't think I've ever heard your voice sound so beautiful. The guitars, the drums, everything, it just sounds really polished, but in a good way, not overproduced, where I then worry that when I see you live, it's not going to sound good.
Mm.
But did you have a conscious kind of mindset when recording, like, are we going to be able to transfer this to the stage? Is it going to sound like this when we play live? Or was it just always kind of confidence and just, yeah, this is going to be how we're going to play them live?
Yeah, I wobble. I do wobble.
Yeah.
I obviously you go in the room and you overreach when you're writing. You know, you're trying to, but you're trying to get into new territory. When you get there, quite often the people around me have more confidence in me than I do, which is naturally the way. I'm really lucky. I've got an amazing vocal coach. Her name's Lorna Blackwood, and she just believes, but more than that, she knows I can achieve it, you know. So I just put a lot of my faith in her, and she has not let me down once yet. The nice thing is, live is the most comfortable I am in being in a band.
Right.
Walking on stage now is that's the most relaxed I feel. And that helps. That naturally really helps. The only other thing I would say, Mark, as well, is that in the run up to this, where we were going to get in the room and play for 2 weeks together, I was just really, really sick. I caught this 100-day cough thing that was going around, and I've been just wiped out. So I managed one day in the rehearsal studio, and we could tell that there was just the voice wasn't quite there. There's a problem with my larynx. So all I did was just rest. Had like a really strict regime of steaming sort of 5 times a day and just lots of gentle exercises. And then we went in and did some pre-production, and day one was a stress for me. It was that was quite scary. Day two, I hit a few pockets of like, oh, maybe this is going to be okay. And day three, I was like, I have got this in the bag. Like this
Oh,
is this
nice.
is just going to be beautiful. So yeah, so I've got like one last. I'm going to see Lorna on Monday just for an hour, kind of for a victory lap pre-tour,
Yeah.
just to really send it, you know. So, but it's really exciting, man.
And when you're sitting there doing the set list for this tour,
Mm,
obviously you've got the old faithful fans that want to hear the older stuff, which was punkier, which was heavier,
mm,
which had more kind of balls to it, like the days I think we talked about yesterday, where you'd be making yourself bleed to these songs, really fucking heavy. And now this obviously more evolved sound. I don't mean this word in a wrong way, but poppier. It's more
mm.
popular, isn't it? That's how it sounds. It's more um, radio friendly, I think,
Yeah.
the newer songs. How do you then do a set list where you are kind of flipping between these kind of two different sounds now? Is it
Mm.
difficult because it's a bit like
It-
trying to make it
it-
flow?
yeah, the flow is beautiful now.
Yeah,
The show has a dynamic that it could never have. You know, your dynamic before was 100 miles an hour for
yeah,
an hour. That was it. It was just full power. Let's go, and that was the impact. Turns out when you pace yourself, the moments that you then turn it on are become incredibly powerful. They're more like profoundly more powerful. They have more impact than they did. It's hard to sustain that like hour of drive and to not exhaust everyone in the process as well.
yeah.
And while there's an element of that catharsis that is, I think, integral to our performance and kind of why people come. Um, I want to entertain people. I don't want to like traumatize them. Do you know what I mean? I don't want them to leave feeling like they've been through the ringer. Um, so yeah, it's got the set list now is interestingly like the powerful songs are more powerful. And it's funny, what you said about Popia. I would consider the new record like more accessible, you
That's the
know?
word. Yeah,
Yeah, but for me, I am still me. I
of
am still,
course,
so what happens actually is you get this beautiful record on recording and you play it live and like every part of it just gets a bit like just a bit stronger, a bit more powerful, a bit like the sharp bits get sharper and it's everything's just a bit heavier. So it's like a song like Can I Take You Home, which is so beautiful and could be, like the beginning of that, I feel like it'd sit on an air record,
of course.
and then you get to the chorus and it's just like, no, the boys are here. Like we've arrived. So it's great.
It's amazing. And then with stuff like I've just seen recently announced you're on the main stage at Download, which is going to be incredible. I saw you there when they had the Download pilot, which seems so long ago now. It's a special place for you, isn't it, Download Festival?
It
And to
is,
go
yeah.
there and kind of be on the main stage, and the lineup's just wild this year. You've got stuff like Queens of the Stone Age, Fall Out Boy. There's such a variety, but
Mm.
I don't know how I'm going to get to see everyone. That Saturday is just stacked. Um, but it must feel incredible to be kind of going there with this new album, but also making sure that you kind of please the crowd and also be the
Mm.
Frank Carter that people want as well.
Well, yeah, I think it's really interesting because Download is an amazing festival, but it's always been a metal festival, a
Yeah,
metal and rock festival, but heavy on the metal. And I felt a bigger rapport with the Reading Festival, because I grew up going to that. And just over the years, like through the lineup changes and the way they're catering to their audiences, like I've just so missed being at Download, I've wanted to like those are my friends everywhere I
yeah.
look on every stage is like someone I've known for years who I love. I think it's a really like one, I'm grateful that they've given us a shot on the main stage. It doesn't come easy. Two, I'm like I'm excited to go there. I think that's going to be the weekend where we show people how it works together,
Yeah.
you know, and that's just a really nice challenge. I don't walk up there feeling like I'm out of place, you know. We're gonna play some sexy songs, and I just think that's really important because it's like, well, just because we're punks, it doesn't mean we don't like good sex. Do you know what I
Of
mean?
course.
Like it's I think we're a great addition to that lineup, and I think that's my chance to go and to prove to anyone who's on the fence or any of the naysayers, like I'm gonna show them the Frank Carter that I am,
Yeah.
regardless of the Frank Carter that they want. I'm gonna show them the Frank Carter that I am, and I feel like by the end of the weekend we'll all be in agreement. So
Do you feel that I know it's hard because we're talking about you like a third person now, the Frank
mm,
Carter that you are, and but you are actually Frank Carter. Are you now? This kind of goes back on what we were talking about yesterday about the snake kind of shedding its skin, but it's
mm.
always the snake.
Yeah,
You've
it's still
obviously
the
come
same,
through
yeah.
some really rough times, haven't you? And you've really had to dive deep and like come out better for everything. I know you're sober now, and you've
Mm,
on this album. You it gives me hope. You know, anyone that can be rock bottom can always bounce back.
yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel now that you're the most comfortable and happiest you've felt in your own skin?
Yeah, definitively.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's interesting what you said there because about talking about a third person, but Frank Carter is definitely a character, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and it's interesting because Frank is my middle name, so my actual name is Christopher. Um, and I think over the past couple of years, I've done more work than ever to sort of re-assimilate that, you know,
Yeah.
to find my place in the adult world as Christopher Frank Carter rather than just being this persona that I got lost in, you know. And that's I think we yesterday we were talking about, you know, switching it on, turning it on.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's Frank is a part of me, really, you know, a big part, big
Massive
character,
part. Yeah.
big energy, you know. But in my heart, like I will always be um Christopher. And it's been very important to reintegrate that into my life because it was lost for a long time. And that's the tender side of me, you know, that's the gentle side of me. That's the father, that's the partner, that's the son. Frank's the rock star, you know.
So have you got like a blend now? You're Frank and Chris a bit more gelled together instead of it being two different kind of personas.
Yeah, I've been sort of embracing that. My family have started calling me Chris again, which is quite nice. Like
I was gonna say if I saw the download poster and it's like Chris Carter, I'd be like, who the fuck
who the
is
fuck
this
is that?
playing? Is it a tribute band?
The true tribute, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
God, he's really good. He looks like him, doesn't he? God, he sounds like him too. They're good.
it might be better than the real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been, it has, okay, it has affected how I perform and how I am on stage
Yeah.
because off stage, I feel more complete. Yeah. So that naturally just is when you're
That's going to
working.
shine through then, isn't it? Because you're not going to then put a false kind of mask on to go on stage if you're happy in the skin and the face that you're wearing when you go onto the stage.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's you know, there's a time and a place for that. A lot of people used to talk, Dean tells this story about how people would when he told people that he worked with me in the early days, they'd be like, "Is he mental? Is he is he just crazy all the time?" And Dean's like, he makes me bolognese. Do you know what I mean? Like he's like the most chill guy I know. Like and so it's I think it's nice to just be talking about that and just show that to the world. And I have to be able to put that in my music. I have to.
Yeah.
Because if I can't and I can't live like that, then there's a fracture in me and I'm always divided. As a human, I'm always divided. So it's really important for me that I'm able to, you know, show the world all the different sides of me. we're as humans, we're incredibly multifaceted, you know, and you know, you're not always talking to the same side, but it's still you're still talking to the same entity that has all of those sides. So it's about you know, it's about kindness to me to allow the space for all of it. And through that, I think I've been a better performer, I've been a better friend, just getting better gently, day by day.
I was reflecting quite a lot yesterday on our conversation. I know it's quite short, but it was having quite an impact on me. And I remember, like, in the afternoon, just sitting there, like, kind of gelling and going over what we talked about. And I kind of, in a weird way, put it as like you're like this wrestler. So you go out to the ring and you're like Frank Carter, who's putting on this performance and entertaining the crowd. But
Mm.
then when you go back to the dressing room, you can just be, well, now it's Chris, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was trying to look at it in that way, that you were, you know, especially when you're talking about, you know, making yourself bleed. I was thinking like a wrestler who's blading. I was like, fuck,
Mm.
this is a lot of, like, you know, someone like CM Punk or Moxley or something like that. I was thinking, God, I can see this kind of person. But at the same time, I was thinking to myself, you're when you're doing music and a band and songwriting, it's a different type of entertainment because it's from the heart. So when
Mm.
you're going out there and you're singing these songs now and letting people basically into your life and your struggles, that's beyond a wrestler. That's beyond a front man. It was basically like publishing your diary for the world to listen to
Yeah.
and read. And I sometimes think, how fucking brave is that? And do you ever get the chance to take a step back and realize that you're letting people anywhere in the world read your most personal and deepest and darkest thoughts about the worst times? Sorry if I scare you now and you're like, fuck, I'm
No,
never
not at
writing a song
all.
again.
No, no. It's yeah, it's that's just a sincerely beautiful way of putting what we do as artists, and it's I don't I wouldn't consider it brave. For me, I think that it's my duty, it's my responsibility. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
When you got a gift with words, you know, so many people come to me and they explain to me, this song, you wrote this song about me, you know. I've never met them. You know, they're like, but this is what you've put into words here is my life. And I listen to this and it's me. It's for you've written this for me. And I understand that feeling because I've been there. I've listened to albums and I'm like, how the fuck? Like this is
How's
my
it inside
life.
my head? Yeah, I do it
Yeah.
all the time.
And so that's my you know, my job is just to keep doing, just keep writing and to make that room for people where they might not be able to find the words or they can't explain that sort of maelstrom that happens within us, you know. Um, I'm like I'm quite comfortable in that chaos,
Yeah,
you know. It it's interesting that like it's weird. Like I have, you know, I talked to my therapist about it, how I'm like a lot of people run from their problems because they can't sit in discomfort. Yeah. And I look back on my life and I'm like, what am I running from that is so uncomfortable that I have caused extreme discomfort in my life and then told everyone about it and then performed it and then made that performance uncomfortable, you know? Um, and then I think, well, maybe there isn't. Maybe that's just maybe I'm just a person that can sustain it, you know, can just be in that and exist in it and understand it. Maybe it's not maybe there isn't a problem. Maybe it's a gift, you know. So, but it's taken me a long time. I'm still not sure if that's the correct answer, but that's how I'd like to think about it today. You know, is
of
that like
course.
maybe there's a positive in all this, and certainly from the week that we've just had talking to people, definitely feels like it's helping a lot of people. So,
Do you? I go through counselling sessions at the moment in my life, and it's quite personal. But I'm trying to get to the root of the issue of why I'm anxious, why have you know, mild depression and feel low a lot, and don't love myself.
mm,
And the big theme that as I've had through the sessions so far is you can't love others the right way until you love yourself. And that's something I've really kind of gone, fuck. And when I'm listening to your album, I'm like, genuinely, dude, fuck, he's inside my head. He's speaking to me. Like, he's saying exactly what I've been thinking for the last fortnight.
Mm.
Do you think, and maybe we're kind of very alike here, you've suffered from that same thing where you've not resented and hated yourself, but you've really not liked the path you've taken, and to get back, you've had to kind of hit rock bottom to really know how shit it is to then put it right and kind of embrace and care and self-love yourself again?
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
but what you said there though, like I did hate myself, Mark. Like I really, I despise myself, and with that, all the choices that I took were steps closer to more of that. You know, it wasn't in a place like getting sober is a radical act of love towards yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking drugs and drinking is, maybe people won't like this, but that is a radical act of hate towards yourself. You know, it's numbing your feeling because you can't sit with what's going on because you've got too much
Yeah.
turmoil inside you. Now, I I get that it's not quite as black and white as that, but for a person like me who lives in the extremes of the world, it is like as soon as I found that door to instant happiness, or dopamine hits or whatever, that was only one way that was ever going to end,
Yeah.
and it ended that way, And now I'm so grateful that I'm here, um, that I'm able to be in that place. But what you say about how you can't, you'll never really be able to love anyone properly until you love yourself. Like it's true because how can you how can you care truly for someone else if you can't understand the value or see the worth in caring for yourself? Yeah, because then you're just an act of service for the rest of your life, constantly trying to be for others. And then maybe who is looking after you? Because at some point then the scale's going to tip and you're going to resent them when they're not there for you. Whether or not you've asked them,
Yeah.
a lot of the time we can't express, I need you to be here for me, like because we're supposed to be this stoic force that just is ever moving, ever stable. I'm a Taurus as well, so it's just like I'm, dig my heels in, and that's me. So yeah, I that's what that's what getting sober was to me. It was a priority to be better, and I knew it was going to take a long time. And like I said the other day, like I'm 16 months in now, and it's been a slow process, really slow process. But what it is it's consistent, and that is something I would look for the reassurance in the big moments or the low moments, not in the steady line
Yeah.
through it. And now I live through the big and the lows, but I only really like accept what's in the median, in the middle of it, because um, that is closer to a consistency that I can understand, I can make sense of. And I'm seeing from a year of being sober how my life's changed. My finances are better, my relationships with my friends are better, my family, like my health, my mind is just so much better. They're small changes, but they add up. They really add up. So
The thing I found is from stop being and like it's hard to sum up in words, but to stop myself being a people pleaser and always kind of changing myself in the environment and the people around me to always please everyone.
mm,
I've allowed myself to just be Mark. And we've talked about being Frank and Chris, but I'm Mark. I'm not a stage name and in a band that can be a different name, but I'm Mark. And I'm finally, and it's very raw at the moment because it's going through that time literally as we're speaking.
mm,
But I'm comfortable and happy, and Mark is enough now
yeah.
as
Well,
being Mark. And
Mark's always been enough, though.
but
He has,
Mark it's weird we're talking about Mark now, but
Mm.
Mark was never enough for Mark, and
Yeah,
that
sure.
meant it wasn't enough for anyone else. And it's not fair on the people around me, especially my loved ones and family, that they may have not got the real Mark until now because that Mark was never enough to please them all. So he had to be a different version of Mark to kind of be accepted, to be won over, to be happy, to be liked, to be popular.
Mm.
Now it's about I'd rather less people like me and love me and care for me, but those that do get the real sincere Mark and they're happy
Yeah,
with that version of me.
yeah. You're talking about finding your authenticity,
Yeah.
being a true version of yourself. And yeah, when we talk about people pleasers, like you have to you have to become a person pleaser, and the person you need to please is yourself.
Yeah.
It's weird because we're so used to being so available for everyone. Um, and actually, what you have to do is you've got to learn some boundaries and like lock a little bit of that time off for yourself and be able to say no. Like actually, like I can't do that right now because I need to not. I need to just look after me. It's how hard is that to do if you've never put a value on your own life?
Well, for 35 plus years, I've always gone, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll make sure I'm at that party I don't want to go to. I'll make sure I go to that event I don't want to
Yeah.
because I want to make sure that I don't let you down. But all I'm
Yeah,
doing is
right.
letting myself down.
100%. Exactly that. Like, and I talk about letting people down all the time. I've always been a bit of a people pleaser and I've tried my best to make it work for everyone. And it's always to the detriment of me
Yeah.
without fail. Like, is someone coming up short? Yeah, you. Who's got the least sleep? You did.
Yeah.
Who's like who's paying out their own pockets? You. Like it's and what does that do? Because what it just sets this like unruly precedent that you're there to be taken from.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
And it's
like
exhausting to
actually,
be kind of walked over all the time. And that's not saying that everyone's negative. Some people are absolutely incredible. And when I've gone through tough
mm,
times, the
mm,
people I love have shown more than ever
yeah.
they're the right people to be around me. But I have had to cut a few people off
Mm,
because it was so damaging. And it might sound petty, but it was just why am I always chasing this person to come out when they never reply? They never text
yeah.
me unless I went a year and a half after I left a job and I was like, when you leave and everyone's like, we'll stay in contact. I can't wait. And
Sure.
within a
Yeah.
week, you literally haven't heard from them. It's 6 months and then you stop getting invited because you're not part of that kind of
Mm,
work family anymore, and you're like, God, you were just all work colleagues, you weren't
yeah.
friends. So I'm happy to see that go. I'm happy for those people to come in and out of my life. It's fine. I've come to
Mm,
terms with it instead of what have I done wrong? What is it about me that was wrong? What have I kind
yeah.
of done that's had an effect on people for me not to be wanted? And it isn't
And,
that. It's
and
just
the sad thing about all this, Mark, is that every one of those people have got their own stuff going on, and
yeah,
they're not thinking about you and me. Do you know what I mean? They're
no,
thinking about themselves, and they're stressed. What I've started doing is when I think about someone that I haven't spoken to for a long time, and my original thought is, what have I done that now that they're not speaking to me, I just send them a message. I've just stopped. I'm just like, yo, just thought about you. Here are your flowers. Like, had great times in this year. I just remembered this thing. I thought about you, and it led me to this moment that we shared. And I just wanted to reach out and say, fucking love you. And that was a good time in my life, and hope you're well. You know,
that's a
and
that's a
and
really good way of dealing with it.
yeah, just will it just because this is what we were talking about just before, right? If you're a person that only allows to take from people to take from you, you
Yeah,
know, what have you ever actually got to give?
yeah,
And then when you choose to be a person who gives, like truly, you choose, not passive, not like
no,
I'm gonna like act. Do you actually think, do I want to give this? Like then there's a window where you just lock off from the world and you recalibrate, and then you become a person who can just give all the time. And that is just beautiful because then like no one needs to take from you because you've always got it to give. That's what I feel like now. I feel like honestly, I feel my life is so abundant right now, and just full of love.
but what a switch! Like even
Yeah,
in less than what, 18 months. That kind of, what a 180, like to be always taken from, and then you just think,
Mm.
fuck it, I'm going to switch this dynamic and change it. Like,
Well, it feels like a switch. It does feel fast for me, but when I look back on how unhappy I was for so many years, that like really taking accountability for that and saying I do not want to be this anymore. And that
yeah,
was specifically because I was, I had quite bad addiction at one point, and I I didn't want to continue down that path. As soon as I stopped that, it wasn't just stopping drugs. It was stopping hating myself. It
yeah,
was stopping it was stopping that. It was stopping the negative thought of like, you know, and it was showing up for myself. And that was it. Like when I talk to people now that are struggling to get sober, I'm like, go to meetings every day if you have to. Yeah. And prioritize that first 90 days as the only thing that matters in your life. Because it should be at the top of your list of priorities. Because without sobriety, if you're questioning sobriety, your life is in trouble.
yeah.
You're like every relationship is broken. The way you work, the way you think, the way you love, it's all fucked. So if you prioritize sobriety above everything, then you can slowly, gently restart rebuilding those things. Like my main priority is sobriety now, because without that, every other part of my life don't work.
Because your life for so long was the Frank Carter that had drinks, that had drugs, that lived the rock and roll lifestyle, and now it's such a complete change and such a healthier, better mindset. Let's say now you're Chris.
Yeah,
Have you still got Frank knocking on the door all the time saying, come and play? Because you're
yeah.
still in that industry. You're still around a lot of the same people that you were around when you were Frank at his worst. Is it difficult to like basically say, fuck off, Frank, for a bit? Like, I'm just let me
Mm.
be Chris.
It's it was in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. My story is weird because I was sober from the age of 16 to 28.
Yeah.
I was sober for 12 years. Then I started drinking, and then I started taking drugs. So it's like my journey in addiction is actually quite short comparatively. But I've been real honest with people as well. I've just been real clear with them. Not like some people are like, no, no, you're good. You just need to find balance. And I'm like, bro, abstinence is my balance.
Yeah. Balance
Like,
is not a talking
I,
point right now because balance
yeah, I
is going
was
to lead up
like,
to this.
yeah, I was like, man, you don't like text me that while I was in an ambulance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
Yeah. That's
You
pretty
like,
heavy. Yeah.
and that's the thing. It's like that's when we have a duty, we have a responsibility to be um respectful and compassionate with our words, and people aren't, because no one likes a mirror apart from drug addicts. But like, do you know what I mean? No
Of
one likes.
course.
They don't like that. They don't like being shown that you're stepping away. Because then what they have to do, sadly, and this is a deep chat, but then they have to work out who in their group of friends is worse than them, because they keep that person near. Because if you've always got someone as a point of reference on this spectrum of addiction, and they're worse than you, then it's not as bad, is it? You're all right.
Yeah.
You're not, well, I'm not as bad as that person, so I'll be all right. When that's not the fucking reality. Like, just as soon as you're on the spectrum, problem with drugs is, yeah, it's the minute you start taking them, you start racking up a bill, and you don't get to decide when you have to pay it. You don't get to choose.
Yeah.
That's like
And
you
that is the harsh
and
reality.
yeah, it is. And oftentimes, when they come to collect, you don't have enough. And I'm not talking about money.
No.
Like, I mean, so many of my friends are not here anymore because they couldn't pay the bill. So,
And
and the bill,
that's one thing
you had,
is like, I was talking to Bert from the Used, and I said to him how grateful I was just the fact that we could have the chat, because those moments I genuinely thought I'd never get to see them or see him because he had hit such a rock bottom. And I thought he would be the next sort of Kurt Cobain, Jeff Buckley, Amy Winehouse. And truly, dude, even though your dark days were shorter in comparison, like you said, you know, you were sober for so many years, the downward spiral that you faced ahead of you was rapid.
Yeah.
And there was moments when I thought, I hope you're not next, you know, like I hope you come out better than this. And I know timing's everything. I talked about this maybe off before we started recording, but I always wanted to speak to you on the podcast, but I never knew when the right time would be. I've seen you backstage, many festivals, many gigs. 2000 Trees last summer, I saw you. Just, you know, I think you're on a crutch. I'm sure, or you were someone with a crutch. Maybe the guy from Gallows. I think it was the two
Yeah,
of you.
my brother was, yeah, he done his leg in.
I remember seeing a crutch backstage at 2000 Trees, and you were sat there, and I thought I might go and talk to him now, but it didn't feel right. And then
Oh, you
now
should have.
I've got the interview with you where I'm like, this is the best version of Frank you could ever get for that whole time you've been trying to speak to him.
Yeah, this is for sure. This is the most real. So yeah.
So I'm glad we've got it. I'm glad this is recorded and down there because I didn't want you to be in that ambulance and not get home, you know?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like I feel like two of me went in that ambulance, you know, one come out,
Yeah.
and I'm really, really grateful the right one came out. So yeah,
Isn't it nice as well that the people that you care about have really shone more than ever?
yeah,
The loved ones that you have that have been there for you during those times now get the kind of reward of such a sincere version of you, the happy in my own skin version of you. And like you said, that's had a great impact on being a dad or a loved one or a partner or a friend or a family member. And
yeah.
if that continues, that's great for everyone, isn't it?
It's the way it should have always been.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is I think they're getting the version of me that they always saw. You know, the only person that's actually changed is me. Like that's the reality of it. Um, so it's nice for while it's they're enjoying it, and you know, they've definitely few people have sort of given me a big hug and just been like, thank fuck, you finally found your way, you know. It's selfishly, it's the nicest for me. I have a different relationship with all of those people. It's like, yeah,
But do you find it's easier now and less exhausting because you are just not having to wear a different mask for a different set of people? You are just being you. And that's, we've
yeah,
going 360 here. And you said to me, Mark, you've always been enough, or Mark, you've always been Mark. And I
yeah,
was like, fuck, no one's ever really said that. And I was like, ugh. I realized that we're recording on a YouTube and a video, but it was like, shit, like I have always been Mark, and the
mm,
version of Mark was enough, but I didn't think it was. But now I am Mark, and you're Chris or Frank.
yeah. Well, I'm all of them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm Christopher Frank Carter, but it's I still introduce myself as Frank Carter,
yeah.
you know. But what's important is behind the scenes, I'm a much more complete version of myself. I'm comfortable with around, you know, all of these versions. I don't like talking about myself in the third person. But it
It's
is
easier to do it that
complicated,
way.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just I'm just really grateful, man. Just really, really
I
grateful.
feel like when I see you at Download this year, I'm going to come up to you. We'll have a Coke, not a beer, we'll
Yeah.
have a Coke. Or fucking Liquid Death Water, whatever it is this year.
I love Liquid Death. It's my favorite.
I love Liquid Death, and if you're
Yeah.
listening, send me some crates.
Yeah.
And we will have a flavored water and just fucking hug it out because I feel like
Yeah.
we've both been on this same path, quite freaky. And when
Mm.
I'm talking to you today, it's felt like a bit of a counseling session, but in a really positive manner. It's not like we're talking about how we've gone and become worse. We've come out stronger, and isn't that a fucking great thing?
Yeah, it's a blessing. It really is.
Before we go, obviously now completely, it's only for the listeners out there. It's 11:15 in the morning. It's been quite deep and heavy. Are you still finding time to do other stuff? So, as an artist, as a creator, as a tattooist, as an illustrator, I'm sure your mind's there one day wanting to make a film or
Mm,
I'm sure you're that person that will direct a film one day or do a
yeah,
music
maybe.
score or a soundtrack. And I think someone like yourself is never going to stop. Are you still getting the time to do all those things apart from music that mean so much to you?
I am. Yeah, yeah. I make time for it. I've written a few screenplays actually, but mostly I'm just in. I'm maybe the whole time I was in music, particularly my early bands. I took a lot of that for granted. Not intentionally. I just didn't believe that I deserved it, and so I would ruin a lot of those experiences for myself because I couldn't enjoy them.
Yeah,
So with what I know now and who I feel, I'm just enjoying music. I just love making music. I love being on tour. I love performing. Um, and I'm just really trying to focus on music being this sort of salvation that it has always been trying to be for me, and I've pushed against. But yeah, I tattoo every week. I write every day. I play Minecraft for hours with my daughter. I've got a great life. Like life is good.
I'm glad you're still doing the tattooing because the
Mm.
shop's not around anymore, is it? Is that right?
Well, I still have it, but it's a private studio now,
Yeah,
and it's just much more manageable. Like what I learned is that I'm a great tattooer. I'm a great singer. I'm not the best manager. Like it's just, business is not for me unless it's only mine, and
yeah.
it's just been easier that way. So yeah.
So you're still getting to tattoo as much as you can, as much as you want.
Yeah, March is really busy. I've got a lot of appointments in March, and I used to tattoo on tour, and I will pack a bag on Monday and bring it just in case, because it's fun.
I
But
might come to your Wolverhampton show and I might be like, hey, dude, like,
yeah,
can we get
let's
a
do
coffee
this.
and let's just do something to symbolize this
Yeah,
episode?
man. Yeah, I'm down. What number is the episode? That's easy.
I was in my head, I was thinking, so I had Simon Neil on for episode 300, my favorite
Mm,
songwriter of all time, up there with, Kurt
mine
Cobain for
too.
me. Absolutely
Yeah,
incredible.
he's tattooed
And
me.
he, I've got his signature on my arm,
Okay, nice.
to celebrate episode 300. So it
Mm,
was the big, for 200, it was my dad.
yeah, wicked.
And episode 300 was Simon Neil. And I met him at 2000 Trees and Arctangent, and Biffy changed my life. Biffy's the band that made me want to be in a band, that showed me that you can write a song like Jaggedy Snake that just goes all over the fucking place, but it's still the same band. And there's no nicer guy I've met in the world than Simon Neil.
No, I'm with
And
you on
uh,
that. I'm in full agreement.
and he was kind enough, and he's going to design me something to tattoo as well. But I've
Nice.
got his signature just here to celebrate episode 300, and it's kind of like he writes "sigh" backwards, and it looks kind of cool. So people are like,
Yeah.
"What's that?" But I want to do something for this. Like we've got this moment today. I even said to my wife last night, I was like, I think Frank's interview might be better than Simon. I was like, there's something a bit more, I don't know, in a different light. And she's like, oh, that's exciting. And I was like, but it's part two tomorrow, so it could fucking fall to shit,
Yeah,
or
let's see.
he
Let's
might
see
not
how
come
he
on.
is
He
at
might not
10
come
a.m.
online. He might not happen. But maybe there's need. I don't know, something about hope or a light or a
Mm,
shining, coming back stronger. Something.
yeah. Well, please come to the show and let's hang out. It'd be good to meet you in person, bro.
Yeah.
Cool.
The thing is, it's Valentine's Day, so that's a tough one to get past with the wife. Like,
It is, bring her down. So like we'll play love songs just for her.
yeah, that's not a bad idea actually. Do you want to go on Valentine's Day to see Frank Carter? It'll be more mellow than the last time you saw him.
It will be. It will be. It's going to be a
Yeah,
great show. I can't wait to play it because they've rebuilt the venue, haven't they?
unbelievable. And they're getting
Yeah.
like Enter Shikari and
Mm,
everyone's playing. Liam Gallagher's fucking playing there, and there's everybody.
man,
So
it's wild.
what I
It's
do on this podcast, and this is my final question for you today. Everyone's had it. So Kevin Smith, Anthony Hopkins, Mads Mikkelsen. It's always the same final question.
okay.
You get to choose any song in the world to be played at the very end of today's episode. So to keep all 331 episodes original. And I find that most songwriters struggle the most with this. I think Dennis from Refuse got it down to 10 and was like, I'm going to email you. And I was like, no, it has to be
Mm,
today. But what's a song that you fucking love and adore that
yeah,
means a lot to you?
cool. It's going to be So Real by Jeff Buckley.
So This is freaky. So I had Brandon Boyd on,
Yeah,
and I said to him, same question. Jeff Buckley is my favorite singer of all time.
same.
Um,
Yeah,
I've got every book, every fucking bootleg, every vinyl, I absolutely worship him. The best song ever written in musical history is "Lover You Should Have Come Over." Like,
right, yeah.
masterpiece.
Well, that was my next choice, but like it's so real for me. It's just I don't know
I
something
can't believe
about
you
it.
said Jeff Buckley. So Brandon Boyd was like, "Well, there's a singer called Jeff Buckley." I'm like, "Fuck off!" Like, oh wow, who's this? And he's like, "There's a song called Last Goodbye," and I'm like, "Oh, dude, like that's the song that I want to be buried to when I die." Like,
Yeah, right.
I can't believe you've picked Jeff Buckley.
Yeah, he's the greatest of all time. Um, Lyrically, like just it's like all of the greatest poetry in the world. He's just unbelievable, like a forever source of inspiration, and obviously a tragic story. But to have made the impact that he did the short time that he was here, it's amazing. We're playing the Bataclan in on this tour coming up in February, and I listen to
Yeah,
Jeff Buckley at the background like often, so that's
just
like
go in that room and just breathe for a
I'm
minute and just
yeah,
be take
I'm
it all in.
stressed about it already, to be honest, Mark. Like that those kind of days have the ability to get in your head, but it's yeah. So that would be my pick.
God, that's just perfect for me. And what I'll do now is when I edit the episode, I'll be getting in the songing. I'll get the full track in, which is nice.
Mm.
And I'll just spend the next week, even though I listen to Jeff Buckley all the time, just absolutely rinsing Grace again
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah, it's the best.
My
It's
Sweetheart
my
the
favorite
Drunk, which
record.
sometimes I'm divided about that album because I'm like, it's not the final version that Jeff would have wanted us to hear. And I feel like, am I doing him a disservice by listening to the songs when they're not completely finished? But at the same time, any extra Jeff Buckley in my life is a bonus.
Yeah, I think it's unbelievable because from an artistic point of view, sometimes I find it really difficult to get beyond the demo
Yeah,
because I'm just like, man, this is lightning in a bottle. This is a moment caught, and we can go in and re-record. It's like you saying, you didn't want to re-record this podcast,
yeah,
yesterday's, and that's how sometimes I feel about performances, trying to get a song ready for the album. So I know what you're saying, but I feel like that album's extra special for that reason. You know.
yeah. All the Grace EPs and the bootlegs and the B-sides and the covers and like the Smiths cover where there's really bad distortion, the mic's not really that great in the room, but you can still hear the guitar. I'm like, it's fucking incredible.
Yeah,
Maybe just tattoo Jeff Buckley on me somewhere.
absolutely. Well, we'll do grace because that's the word that is like great. Grace is the word.
That's
That's
perfect. I've
um
wanted the Grace because the Grace font on the actual album
mm,
isn't brilliant. It's all right, it's cool,
yeah.
but it's not like classic. On me, it just wouldn't look that good.
Mm.
But maybe we have Grace written on me in a different
Yeah,
way.
cool. You have to do it on me though as well then.
Wow.
Yeah. Simon tattooed me. He tattooed was it there? He tattooed biblical, right? And
That's incredible.
I just said to him, I was like, it's my favorite song of theirs. And I was like,
Yeah.
look, I just want biblical in capitals. And he started, and I looked down, it was all lowercase. And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh shit, fuck, I'm sorry.
Kind
I
of
was
rub it
like,
out.
I was like, draw a line through and do it again. He's like, no. I was like, yeah, do it. So I've got biblical. Just
That's great.
yeah, it's a great story. I love those guys so much. They're the best.
Mate, to stand and tattoo is going to be pretty. I'll have to make sure I get the fucking.
You'll be fine.
Have
Trust
the
me.
Dutch courage.
You'll be all good, mate. You'll be fine.
We're going to make this happen because
Yeah.
I had Pete Doherty on a couple of weeks ago and he's like, I'm sending you artwork. I'm going to draw you. I was like, fucking hell, Pete. That's really kind.
Oh wow.
Never happened.
I'll play it. Well, you never know. Like Pete's a busy boy, so
Yeah.
what's the point? Or it's draw. Usually, what happens with me is like when I say something like that to someone, the work is done that day,
Yeah.
and then it just sits in a drawer in my house, and you'll get it shipped to you about fucking 8 years later. Do you know what I mean?
I know
I
that
did,
one day
I did
he
this
said
for
I'm a man of my
you. Yeah.
word. Like he said, I'm not going to let you down. But I'm
Yeah.
like, we'll see.
Mm. But you
But
know what, Mark? Like, as as it's a sentiment,
yeah,
for him to say something like that, like hold that in your heart rather than like, waiting for it. Like it's you obviously made an impact for him to say that. So that's
I've got a few things that like those milestones. I had Silverchair, one of my favorite bands of all time, like ever, and
that
they've
God
just released
song
a
is a
book.
tune.
Oh my God. And they just released a book, Love and Pain. And because of the interview I did with them, they took an extract from the interview and put it into the book. And I was like, fucking hell, that's incredible. And they said, we're going to credit you in the book. And I was like, are you sure? Like, that means the world. And then it came to the printers and they sent it me and it was like, my name wasn't in it. And I was like, oh, what? That's crazy. And they're like, we fucked up. We were
Yeah,
really rushed. And I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to be upset about that because I had my moment. I had the
yeah.
interview. I've dreamed of meeting that band. And last week, a book arrived to my house,
Mm.
and Ben and Chris had like literally written, "You're an absolute fucking legend. We love you so much." And at the end,
Yeah, yeah.
Ben has scribbled out one of the names and put, "Thank you, Mark Widjat," and a little smiley face.
That was
And I
great.
thought, I mean, my wife said, "Well, isn't that much better than the printed one?" And I'm like, do you know what? Like, it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny how we can often look for the validation in things,
Yeah,
rather than just appreciate the moment. And that's ultimately all it is. Once something has happened, it's gone forever.
yeah,
You know, you've still got the memories, you've got the feelings, you've got the way it made you feel. And like, and also can't take none of it with you. So
no.
just embrace it while you have it. And there we go. Yeah.
Dude, I love today, genuinely.
Yeah.
There's a
Thanks so much
connection.
for, yeah, thank you for fitting me in. I'm sorry about yesterday, but
Don't be
it's
silly.
been a good chat.
I do mean this, and this will stay on the recording. It's my favorite interview I've done. Simon was my favorite for nostalgia and just the
Yeah.
biggest achievement getting Simon Neil, my favorite songwriter. But this has just felt like another level of just depth. And it's 10 o'clock in the morning. People don't understand this. People think it's probably 7 o'clock at night and we've had a long day and we've warmed up. But I woke up and got out of bed and was like, right, we're going to nail this interview.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank
No,
you. And
thank you.
thanks for, yeah, I've been talking to people all day, every day. So this has been my favorite interview as well. So
I
I
appreciate it a lot.
appreciate you, man. Yeah, thanks.
I'll keep in contact and I'll send you an email. And if I can't do Wolverhampton, we'll sort a date on the tour. And I'm going
Yeah,
to hold you to the fucking tattoo because that's going to
yeah,
happen.
I got you. Don't worry.
Awesome, dude. I'll let you go. Enjoy your day.
Yeah.
And I'll see you at Download. I'll see you, but I'm going to make sure I come and see you on this tour. I want to be, um, not a festival
Come,
when there's a
come to
lot of
Paris.
fucking
Take
hell.
a
That'd
trip
be
to Paris. Yeah,
incredible.
to the Bataclan. It's like we can reminisce about Jeff Buckley in there.
God, that'd be too. And
Yeah.
then to do the tattoo in there.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I think you know what's happening now, Mark. Okay.
I know. I've
So,
got to go and just. My wife's going to come home today, and I'm like, I'm just packing my bags for France.
yeah. Sorry,
I
hop
do
a
not like
bottle.
this Frank Carter guy. He's not a good influence. Awesome,
Uh,
dude. I will.
my
I'll drop you
pleasure.
an email, and we'll sort
Yeah.
out this date, and we'll make it happen.
Excellent. All right. Be well. Much love. Take care.
I wonder who you felt today. I wonder who you have to smile the pain away as you do. I wonder who you love today.
So there it is, my final part of the interview with Frank Carter. What an absolutely incredible, in-depth, raw, open, honest, and just mind-blowing interview. Like one of those moments that when it finished, I reflected for a couple of days. I was so pleased with the way it turned out. I've been speaking to Frank since. He's currently touring the UK, so if you have an opportunity, go and catch it live, because honestly, their show as Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes is one of the best out there. He's born to be on stage. He's born to write songs. His voice has never sounded better. He's clean. He's living his best life, and it's just something you need to go and witness. I just want to say now as well, a massive thanks to Frank. You've been so kind, so generous with your time. We've been speaking a lot since this has gone out. I think you're going to be someone that's around in my life for a long time, and I can't wait to get those tattoos done. If you've listened today and enjoyed the interview, then like I said, please go and check it out on YouTube, or if you've liked today's audio, why not share it on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. I've also got a Patreon page on markandme.com. If you go on there, you can subscribe for as little as £1 a month. You get exclusive episodes, badges, stickers, newsletters and so much more. And just before I go, let's give a quick shout out to the sponsor of the podcast, Richer Sounds. Without those guys, I couldn't keep this going. So if you're in the market for a brand new home cinema surround sound system, TV or Sonos, jump on richersounds.com and those guys will sort you out. Now I'm going to take a week off. I'm going to be editing. I'm going to get some really great videos for you all, some audio podcasts and so much more. So until then, look after yourself, listen to Frank Carter, take care, and I'll speak to you all very soon.
Love, let me sleep tonight on your couch. I remember the smell of the fabric of your simple city dress. Oh, that was so real. Oh, that was so real. Oh, that was so We rocked around till the moon got full like a plate. And the wind blew an invocation. I fell asleep at the gate. I never stepped on the cracks 'cause I thought I'd hurt my mother. And I couldn't awake from the nightmare. It sucked me in and pulled me under. Pulled me under. Oh, oh, that was so real. Oh, that was so real. Oh, that was so I love you. But I'm afraid to love you.